Thank you very much, EcomExpo. Lovely to see everybody, and what a wonderful country you have, and the Baltic states as well. It's my first time here, so thank you very much. So I'm here to talk about using data to maximize profit, and it's very important because you've got finite resources and finite time to do things, and you need to maximize profit. But a little bit about me and Innovation Visual. So I'm the CEO, and we're an agency that you would term a performance marketing agency. Amongst other things, we're Klaviyo and HubSpot partners. But when I'm talking today, I want to get you talking about the ideas about data and using data to maximize profit. I'm not going to be going into platform features and functionality. I want to make this as open to everybody to appreciate as possible. So what we're going to do is I'm going to whiz through. I've got quite a few slides, but you'll be very pleased to know there's going to be a QR code coming up at the end with a landing page where you'll be able to download the slides. You'll also be able to get access to an ebook that the team have written. And also, I didn't realize how many people would be here, but we'll do a few data audits for some people. So if you're interested in that, fill out the form, but then also maybe grab myself, or there's two more of the team, Vogue and Megan here as well. You'll see them in the IV hoodies, so grab one of us. But let's crack on. And let's start with the principles of what digital marketing is. To be good at digital marketing, you've got to be good at both data and human behavior. There's lots and lots of attention at the moment on the data side, but you have to remember it's all about the context in terms of human behavior. And some of the previous speakers have touched on this, emotions, etc. So when we're talking about data for this particular talk, I'm just going to really be covering customer data because there's lots of different types, and about maximizing profit from customer data. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't mention the fact that we're moving from an age of information to the age of intelligence. So this is AI coming in, but remember, AI uses data as its grounding. If you've got rubbish data, you're going to get rubbish things coming out of your AI. I call this the show me the money slide. So it's about profit. So how are we going to get the profit? And as I say, it's about focus. There's lots of talk about, oh, you can do this and you can do that, and you can have 1,000 segments of this, and you can do targeting here. But you're all resource constrained. And so you have to think about making the most profit for the time and resources that you've got. And this is a good saying to remember, because too many marketeers get obsessed about revenue and they forget about the profit number. And businesses are in the business of making profit. They're not about just being big. So, basic data, you should all be having these things, so things like contact details, purchase history, store interactions, preferences. These are your foundation stones, but they won't get you very far when it comes to good digital marketing. So, the data you want is the data to help you understand who they are. They're humans, they're individuals. Who are they? So, it's things like demographics. It's also things like size and fit. And also preferences. Somebody mentioned, does somebody like buying blue trousers? Preferences are really important. Also, household unit. If you're maximizing profit, you really want to understand the context of the person that you're dealing with. Are they living on their own? Do they have a partner? Are there children in the household? What age are the children in the household? Even if it's relevant to you, it might be, do they have pets in the household? And possibly the most important, because we do want to use emotions when it comes to our digital marketing, is what brings them joy and their interests. Because if you understand the person, you can understand how to market to them better. If you take an example of somebody buying a pair of yoga pants, they might buy that pair of yoga pants to go and do their yoga lesson. But somebody else might buy exactly the same pair of yoga pants to sit on the sofa and binge watch a Netflix series. It's a different purchase reason. And also, if we're talking about emotions, we need to think about their dislikes as well, because we can tap into those. So in order for your data to be usable, you need to bring it all together. You need a single source of truth for your customers. And people talk about data lakes, which is why the picture's up there. But not all of us are big enough to have vast amounts of data or technology to bring it all together. But don't worry, you can still consolidate, bring it all in, but you might be thinking, rather than a data lake, you have a data pond. And this is where you can bring all your data in. And this is where tools like Klaviyo and HubSpot allow you, when they're properly customized, to actually have all the data points in a single space, and then you can make the data usable. And when we're talking about data, we need to think about the types of data that we're collecting. So there's explicit data and implicit data. So for those of you who want the definitions, the explicit stuff is the stuff that you're being directly provided with or stated. So this could be purchase history, it could be the location where they live, it could be their age. This is explicit data. But implicit data is inferred or deduced from other available data. So an example of this is maybe a customer watches a video on what's the best product in a particular category. We can infer from that they are interested in buying a product within that category. So that is an implicit data point. So some examples of things to gather: when they have bought, time of day, was there a discount? Have they sent products back? This is a bit of a favorite of mine. Also reviews. Have they submitted a review? And what was the score of that review? And then also answers to additional information requested. We'll come back to that one because that's quite interesting. And then implicit data points that you could use. Things like, have they visited certain website sections? Are they clicking on a certain link within an email? And did they watch a video on a certain subject to a certain point in that video? And we can infer information from that. We also tend to use previous purchase behavior to create implicit data points. They bought this. Now, let's think about why we need to be careful for these implicit assumptions based on purchase. Not everything that somebody buys is normal for them to buy. So let's probably take the most common one, buying as a gift. We've all done it. We've gone on our account. We've got, oh, I'll get that for Bob. Yeah, buy that. So it's not normal for them to be interested in a certain product. They're buying it as a gift. This is actually relatively easy to fix from a data viewpoint. You just need to adapt your checkout process so that you can get the person to indicate on the line item if it's a gift. Bonus on your profit, you can sell them maybe some gift wrapping, but also it cleans up your data because you understand that that particular item isn't normal for them. And in terms of abnormal purchase requirements, it might be that I'm going to a dressing up party and I decide for humour to get myself some leather lederhosen. Now, I'm not normally aware of leather lederhosen, so I wouldn't want to get marketed every month for that kind of product. And people do buy odd things which are left field, so you can't look at the whole purchase history and go, yeah, that's the whole picture. Sometimes you have to discount things. And then there's also sharing an account with another. My wife is very prone to just opening up my laptop, getting on Amazon and buying things for herself on my account. Now, Amazon's clever enough to start deducing different things, but we've all had it where somebody's bought something on a different account and you start getting messages which aren't something that you're interested in. And then being asked to buy something for somebody else, so I occasionally ask team members to buy things. We're going on an event, we're going to Vilnius, can you buy X? And they wouldn't normally buy it. And then also, one of the dangers in terms of implicit assumptions when it comes to buying behavior is things like dropping somebody into just a single category. So if we take an example of this road cycling jersey, we can be fairly sure that if somebody buys that, they like riding this kind of bike. So we could drop them in that category. But what we don't want to do is exclude them from the fact that they might also ride this kind of bike. Because if we can find out that they're in more than one category, we can sell them products across multiple categories. So with this in mind, how do we get to know our customers and prospects better? Well, how we get to know people as humans is we spend time with them, we interact with them. But in the fast-moving world of e-commerce, you can't be taking too much time to actually learn more about people. So we need to get to know our customers better, faster. So why don't you just ask? So you can ask your customers for more information about them. And I really don't understand sometimes why companies are so reluctant to actually ask for additional information that can help them personalize journeys. If you're selling a great product at a great price and you've got great service, you're doing them a favor by selling them more. So help them and help yourself and ask them questions. But what you've got to do is you must remember that you have to ask nicely. You have to ask in the right way. So perhaps, as the previous speaker was saying, you could do a competition and you could actually offer participation in the competition in exchange for answering a certain number of questions, which will help you with personalization. There also is, go back to Jack Nicholson. I've broken it now, haven't I? Look at that. You can also ask incremental questions. So these are useful because the system can just ask a single question at a point and fill in the gaps in the data that you already have, so you're not asking for lots of information in one go. And then you could also ask in a chat flow. You could personalize a chat flow to an individual, and you can ask questions in there. But the basic one is actually just saying, hey, we want to help you better. And we've got a large multi-brand client, and what we do periodically, where we don't have the information in the database, we just go out to the customers and say, hey, we want to help give you things that you're going to find more interesting. So can you tell us what you find more interesting? But what you need to do is you need to think carefully of what you're going to ask. So don't just go straight out and start asking them a load of questions, because what you're actually doing is you're building a data model. So this needs careful planning, because the data points you gather need to be usable from a commercial aspect. So they need to be things you can act upon. Because the worst case scenario is you ask your lovely customers a whole bunch of questions and then you find you can't make any commercial use out of them. That is not going to increase your profitability. And then a quick note on data hygiene. It's really important that your data is clean. Most of you here, I'm sure, will probably be having traded for many years, potentially. You've got partial data. You've got old data. You've got to clean that data up if you're going to use it for personalization. You've got to make the choice as to exactly what personalization you're going to do to different depths in your database. So it may be that you actually do hyper or more personalization for those people that you've got the data on, and then you do less personalization for those that you don't. So you need to think carefully about that. And you must always be cleaning your data. Think about it as your healthy routine, like going to the gym and eating healthy food. Don't wait and do a data cleanup operation every year. That's not the way to do it. It should be an ongoing process. And then once we've got our data and it's looking really good, we can then start unwrapping opportunities for the data. And what we're doing now is we're starting to look for cohorts of customers that have got commonalities, and then we can nurture them and we can develop them to spend more, but also then we can go out and we can find more of these best customers, which are our most profitable ones, and we can make more profit. So the one to start with is greatest lifetime value, customer lifetime value. So it's the starting point. And these people are the most valuable from a profit perspective. So look at their spending over a period and go, okay, we make the most profit from these. And you need to start by loving these people, right? They're the ones that are giving you lots and lots of profit. So your first job as a marketeer is to retain them. Don't get distracted by that marketing thing of, oh, I'm really excited about just getting new customers in and I'll forget those existing ones. They'll be fine on their own. You need to really love them, and you need to love the highest value ones more than any others. I'm sure many of you in the room have heard of the Pareto principle or the Pareto rule, and that is that 80% of your profit often comes from just 20% of your customers, and it's very true. So, once you know who they are, you need to go and find more of them. So what that means is it's going out and going, okay, we've identified this cohort, which is greatest lifetime customer value, and we understand them more. We will go and get those particular types of customers because they are the most profitable. And this is where having just a single level of target cost of acquisition for a customer can trip marketeers up. Oh, we only want to pay £100 to acquire a customer. But if these greatest lifetime customer value customers are spending 5 or 10 times the amount that a normal customer is, why don't you spend 5 or 10 times finding them? This is where you really need to think about the profit. So upsell opportunities, it's not just happening at time of purchase, so different ones and cohorts that you can find. It's things like if you're buying X, you need Y. Example of this, I buy a razor. I might not buy shave gel at the same time, but if I've got a razor, I'm going to need shave gel. So an easy cohort to address. There's also patterns. Look at your data, look at for purchasing patterns. Oh, we get quite a lot of people that after they bought product A, they now buy product B. Okay, we can set up workflows for that. Also, product C might complement product D. So that could be something like, I buy a patio chair and table set. Well, that indicates that I've got enough outdoor space that I'm going to be sitting out there. So maybe I should be sent marketing emails about barbecues because I've got the space to do it. And then you've got things like usable product lifetimes. So some products will typically fail or wear out after a period of time, and other ones are consumable products. So if a product is going to wear out or be unusable at a certain period, set up your nurture flows in advance of that, so knowing when that opportunity is going to come. And if it's a consumable product, try and get them on a subscription, because you know they're going to use that shave gel and it's going to run out after a month or so. And then another cohort that I like to target is those that respond to messages, because these are the ones that actually react to what you do. So they're the ones that you can influence. So you nudge them and they buy. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're segmenting them specifically to the communication method that actually gets the outcome. So don't just send them emails if they react to SMS or they react on Messenger or something like that. And then also think about what is the right frequency and timing. And again, I see this thing where people look at the entire audience group and they'll say, okay, well, we're going to send all our emails out at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday because we get the best reaction for that. And they haven't taken the time and trouble to actually break down the audience base into cohorts and go, oh, right, well, there's this group that we can identify and they react best on a Friday afternoon, and we've got these other ones that react best in the evening. So what we'll do is when we're sending out mailings, we'll actually stagger sending times specific to cohorts. We will get more results that way. And then also the right message. I'm sure you're all testing the messages, but make sure you're testing messages in the context of each individual cohort. So some cohorts are going to respond more to discounting messages, other ones might respond to environmental messages or style tips. So don't, again, just go, oh, well, we're going to send more discounting messages because that gives us the biggest percentage. Break it down, get granular, that's where the profit is. And then how can we get more people to respond? We look at what we're doing here and see if we can pull more people by acting in this way into this high responder group. Those that aren't responding, the dormant and lapsed customers. And I'm sure everybody's here going, well, yeah, I do. You know, we've got a program, we do nurture for lapsed and dormant customers. It's a lot cheaper to reacquire a customer that's already bought than go and get a new one. So more profit is available. But remember, you need to think there's a factor in terms of dormancy. If they bought a product, that one's not going to break soon, there's still an opportunity to sell them something else in the meantime. But also, you really need to talk to them differently. So if you've been sending them emails every month, there's always one, isn't there, with the phone ringing. So if you've been sending them messages every month and they've not been buying from you, they're the wrong messages. So dormant and lapsed customers, think about communicating with them differently. Don't just do the same messages. This is why you need to treat them separately. High margin products. I'm talking slowly. I'm seeing the timer running out, so I'm going to start talking quicker. So it's about profit. So do you actually take the time and trouble to look at the difference between your buying price of a product and your selling price of a product? Because that's what you're really interested in. It's the absolute level of profit in a product that you're interested in. So here's an example. You sell coffee makers. One is 100 euros, one is 120 euros. The first one, you get a 40% margin on, so you get 40 euros profit. The second one, you get a 35% margin on, so you get 42 euros 80 profit. So you want to sell the second one at that point. But say the margin on that second product drops to 32%. Now you're making 38 euros something profit. So you actually want to sell the cheaper 100 euro coffee maker because you make more absolute profit. But you're turning over 17% less, but you are making more profit. This is why, as marketeers, you need to be aware of the actual profit level on the products that you're selling, because they're not all the same. So you can also identify the specific buyers, those that buy the products with the highest absolute margin, and again, put them into cohorts. These are people that give you the most profit. So let's treat them differently because they are more valuable. And then go get more of them. So once you've identified these people, that's when you start refining your campaigns. And remember, this is about going, which cohorts are we going to focus on to get the most profit? And so we want to get the ones with the high margin products. Other end of the spectrum, reducing costs gives you more profit. So if you go for the low cost of acquisition products, then what happens there is you look through your whole customer base, product base, and you go, okay, what's the products which give us the lowest cost of acquisition? And then if you can get more people buying that product at that low cost of acquisition, then you can drive more people in. So you can replicate that, can you? Is it a matter of expanding the budget or going further on? Yeah, you're giving me the timing thing, aren't you? Yeah. So you can increase the run rate. So don't forget low profits on those, so you need to nurture them. Similar thing, but the other way round here, high lifetime customer value products. So you want to identify that cohort. I'm going to whiz through these because I can give you the slides, because I want to get onto some other bits. So what are we going to do with these cohorts? We want to go and get more of them. How are we going to do that? Well, we're either going to try and nurture them more and get more out of individual cohorts, or we're going to try and get more people into a cohort, or we're going to do a combination of the two. So selling more to a cohort, this is what lots of people are talking about, personalization, specific nurtures, go very granular, think and act at a cohort level, not an all customer level. And remember, don't be creepy, be valuable. And then getting more in a cohort, increase the spend on the campaigns that attract that particular cohort. Use very targeted messages to be specific, and then narrow your focus down, and then obviously test, replicate, and expand. And also when it comes to making more profit, you want to stop the bad ones. So sales, oh my God, don't think that selling 1,000 euros of stuff at one point is the same as selling 1,000 euros of stuff in sale time. It's very, very different. So you need to make sure you don't price anchor your customers into paying only a discounted product. So you need to deeply analyze on things like Black Friday, your total marketing spend, your agency spend, your media spend, your internal team spend, and look at the profit you make, because you've cut your margins. because it's all deals, so you've got less money. So make sure you've done that, and then look at the customers that you acquire, because you're thinking, there's loads of market activity, Tim, I don't mind about making less profit now because I'm going to get more customers, they're all great. But actually, the customers can be different. They can be less brand loyal, they're more price sensitive, they don't end up repeat purchasing, so they're not as valuable. So do the maths, absolutely do the maths. And then returners, the amusing friends thing of returners. We want to analyze those returner cohorts and we want to get rid of those. We also want to make sure that the ones, the products that are being returned, we're analyzing that because it might not be their fault. Make sure we're using review data. I'm sure all of you wonderful people in here are using the review data, but also look at the way the cohorts are being created. Those that are providing bad reviews, they might be very much a particular cohort and you can exclude them. Bit of a note on geography, got to get the Lithuanian map in. Geography, it's not just about countries, it's also about things like rural-urban split. We work with a very big lingerie brand, and their competitors were targeting cities, thinking that's where all the money is, that's where people spend. And actually, it was in rural areas that people spent more money because they didn't have access to the shops. I need to really wrap it up now. So make more profit from the data. Here's the things.
Very strict schedule here.
Yeah, okay. So you can read these things. I don't need to read them out. You're going to get a copy of the slides. We're going to get thank you for your time and attention. Achu is thank you, I believe. So Achu for your attention. And here's the QR code with lots of things, audit. Also, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I don't know how many audits we're going to do. I didn't know how many people will be in the room. So get in there quick. And as I say, come and talk to me personally. Have we got any time for questions? No.
1 minute.
1 minute. Sorry.
So I will go with the one. And can you give a short answer?
Yes.
Okay.
I can try.
Business often are discouraged by the costs that go into like research, user research, right? So
yep.
The surveys are expensive, researchers are expensive. What is your advice to them?
You don't need to pay for researchers. Think about your data model and what things will make a difference to your customers, and then think of a clever way of researching it yourself by sending a message and saying, hey, the simplest one is we're going to run a competition, answer 3 simple questions, and you will get an entry to that competition, and maybe we'll give you a discount code. Does that answer it?